Okay, here we are. We'll start from the bottom of Zion Amud Bet, 3 lines from the bottom. Okay, and the Gemara is continuing to talk about the power of Tefillah B'Tzibur and davening together with a minyan. Okay, so the Gemara says, Amar le Rav Yitzchak Rav Nachman. Why Rav Yitzchak tells Rav Nachman, My time le asi mar lebeit kanishta. How come I didn't see you in the shul today? Let's leave to daven. Amar le yechilna. I wasn't able to. Rashi says I wasn't feeling weak. Okay? Amalei, he told him, Asara, you should have gathered 10 people. And you should have davened, in fact, at home. You should have had a minyan in your house. Amalei, he told him, Trichali Milsa. It would have been a bother for me to try to find 10 people. Lamar l'shlucha l'tzibura be'inna dematz l'tzibura l'itzav levadi lamar. He said, so you know what you should have done? You should have had a shliach tzibur. He should have had him tell you, when the tzibur was davening. He should have let you know the times that the tefillah b'tzibur were going to be that day, and then you would have known to daven at the exact moment that the rest of the tzibur, the congregation, would be praying. So Amalei, he told him on the last line, Zion Amud Beis, My kulehai, why are you driving me crazy with this? Why is this such a big deal? Amalei Damar Rav Yochanan Rav Yochanan said the name of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Those are the members from Rav Yochanan in the name of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai that we're continuing to say. My dechsiv, what does the verse say? V'ani tefilasi lecha Hashem es ratzon. And my prayers are to you at the time of your will, is ratzon. Emasai is ratzon. When is this special time of will? B'shash ha-tzibur mitzpalin. The time when the tzibur, unless the congregation is praying. So even if you can't even be there, this is brought down that you're supposed to daven at the same time. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina Amar Mehalcha. Rabbi Yossi the son of Chanina says from here. The verse says, Kayamar Hashem. Hashem says, Be'ez ratzon anitzicha, at the time of will, this time of ratzon, I will answer you. Racha Bar Chanina Amar Racha the son of Chanina says, Mehalcha Hein Kel Kabir La Yimas. Okay, it's a simple understanding of this verse is he is a great God, which is actually the source for the Muslims have of Al Achbar Kel Kabir. Okay, he's a mighty and powerful God. And he will not be disgusted with you. So the Gemara is actually doing a drasha. It's a play on words. It's saying, Hein Kel, God, Kabir Layimas. With might, he will not be disgusted. He will not reject your tefillah if it's together with might, together with a minyan. The verse says, Hashem, he says, my soul was redeemed. There was many with me. Okay, it's the same concept of davening as a congregation. How do we know that Hashem is not disgusted in any prayer that comes from the congregation? Same verse. Okay, again, in a multitude. Whoever studies Torah and is involved in kindness and prays together with the rest of the congregation, I consider it whatever that means. God says, as if you redeem me from between the nations of the world, from the Gullus, between me and my children, the Jewish people. Says, anybody who has a shul in his city, he doesn't like to go daven. We're on the first of the wider lines, on Chesam and Aleph. Mikra Shachen Ra, he's called a bad neighbor. Shenebar Koyamar Hashem, says to Hashem, Al Kol Shecheni Hareim, on all the bad neighbors, and the Goyim Benachal Asher Nechalti, that have inherited from this inheritance that I have given over, as Amis Yisrael, the Jewish people. So if they don't enter into the shul, they're called, they have this din, the classification as a bad neighbor. So if you want to know what the bad neighbor is in Jewish context, it's of someone who has a shul in his neighborhood and doesn't go to it. Okay, but not only that, he causes exile to come on him and his children. I'll remove them from their land. That's basically Yehuda. I'll remove from the house of Yehuda. Rav Yochanan said, they told Rav Yochanan, Ikasabi bebavel. There are old people living in Bavel. There's old age homes in Bavel. Tama, he was surprised. Amar and Rabbi Yochanan said, Laman yirbu yemeichem yemei b'neichem ala adamalik. We're saying the Krishma, Hashem should increase the lives and the lives of your children on the land, specifically in Eretz Yisrael. That's what it says. But in Chutz La'aretz, there's no understanding that people should live long. So how could there so many people who are living long in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Israel? Once they told him that there are people who come early and come late to shul, stay late after shul. There are people who make it their business to come early and stay late. He said, that's what happened. That's what helped them actually live long. Like Rishon Levi told his sons, come early and stay late, and go to shul that your life will be lengthened. Rav Acha the son of Chanina said, Ma'ikra. What's the verse? Ashrei Adam Shamei Ali. Praiseworthy is the man who listens to me. L'shakid al dosai yom yom. Lishmar mezuzas pischai. V'ksibasreki matzai moitzachaim. Praiseworthy is the person who knocks on my door, knocking on heaven's door. He knocks on heaven's door, meaning through tefillah, and it says after that, ki matzai moitzachaim, he'll find life. He'll find a long life because he comes early. Amar Rav Chizda says, La'olam yikanis adam shnei psachim bebeis hakneses. A person should forever walk through two doors. Okay, so the Gemara asks, whenever you go to shul, you're supposed to walk through two doors. The Gemara says, two doors? Two doors, like that sounds like hokey pokey. What's so special about two doors? You should come the distance. If the width of a door is X wide, you should walk into the shul the distance from the door that is twice the size of the width of the door. Meaning to say that your tefillah shouldn't look like a burden, like you're trying to run out of shul, but it should actually look like you're in the shul and you're there to stay for the davening. And the Gemara continues, two dots sort of in the middle of the Amud. On this, every pious person should pray at the time of, like we said, Le'is Matzah, a special finding. So what's the special thing that they should pray for, that they should find? Rav Chanina says Le'is Matzah, the time of finding is Isha, that is a wife. Okay, so you should pray to have a wife. Shenemar Matzah Isha Matzah Tov. A person who finds a wife finds good. B'marav in Eretz Yisrael, kinasav inish itita, when a man would marry a woman, Amrele, they would tell him, they'd whisper to him, Matzah or Motzei. Amrele halcha, they would tell him Matzah or Motzei. Is she a Matzah girl or a Motzei girl? Okay, one's with a vav, one's without a vav. Matzah, the verse says Matzah Isha Matzah Tov. V'yifakrot samei Hashem. One who finds a woman finds good, and the will came from Hashem. Motza with the vav, T'chsiv, another verse says, Umotza ani mar mimaves es Isha. I find the woman bitterer than death. So is she a woman who with the vav or without a vav? I mean, in reference to, could she be referred to in the pasuk as a good woman, that you found life, or and you found good, or is it that you found death? Rav Nassan says Le'etz Matzah, another interpretation. You know what a pious person should daven for? For Torah. Shenemar ki matzah matzah chayim. Ki matzah matzah chayim. One who finds it finds life. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar, a third interpretation, Le'etz Matzah, what should he be praying for? Zumisa. That's actually death. That death should come peaceful. Shenemar lemaves totzas, to be taken out to death. Okay, and we'll see what this means. Tanya namihachi tesha meos v'shaloisha mine misa nivru ba'olam. There was created in the world 903 various different kinds of ways of dying. Shenemar lemaves totzaot, and totzaot is bigamatria hachihavu. If you take the word totzaot, the gematria of it, the numerical value is 903. Okay, says the Gemara, doesn't go through all of them, but it says kasha shebekulan, the worst, the most severe kind of death is called askara. Okay, askara is some sort of choking in the throat, where one suffocates. And nicha shebekulan, and the sweetest or the nicest of the deaths is nishika, is the kiss. Askara is damya b'kichazir b'gavava da'amra d'lachure nishra. Is compared to a thorn stuck in a ball of wool, that if you try to pull the thorn out, it's impossible that you're not going to pull out some of the wool with it. It's like a choking that occurs in the throat that really is incredibly painful. Vikadami, alternatively, it's like sticking a rope in a hole that's the same size. We have a hole, I think Rashi says, by ships, where you have a hole, and you put the rope through and you pull it out, and you try to get it out after it swells from the water. It's an incredibly difficult experience. So too, this choking in the throat is an incredibly difficult and painful experience. Nishika, last word in the line, Nishika, the kiss, what's the kiss? His damya is comparable to Kimashcha Benitza Michalva, as if taking a hair off of a glass of milk. If you have milk and you have hair in the milk, it's sort of a smooth process. Rabbi Yochanan says, the fourth interpretation, what's Le'is Matzah? What are we supposed to, what is a pious person daven for? Zukvura. for burial, that he should, after he's dead, that he should have a peaceful burial. And Rav Chanina said, Ma'ikra, what's the verse? The pasuk says, Hasmechim elai geil, Yasisu, I was rejoice, kiyamatsu kever, because I find a burial place. And Amar Rabba bar Rav Shila, Hainu Damri Inshi, that's what people say. Libai inish rachami, a person should beg for mercy from Hashem. Afilu adzivula basraisa shalma, even to the last clod of dirt is thrown on your grave, it should be peaceful. We never know what can happen. Pazutra says, La'itz Matzah, the last alternative answer is Zubes Akise, a bathroom. You should find a bathroom. In those days they had outhouses, and when a person had to go to the bathroom, he had to in fact dig a hole. So this hole that he had to dig, it depended if the ground was very hard, or if it was a lot of water, and then you dig a hole and the water would come up. It would be very hard to find a Beis HaKisei, especially if you were in a populated city. You'd have to go outside the city, so to find a good spot to go to the bathroom. And Amim Marava, this in Eretz Yisrael, Hoda Marzutra Adif Mukulo. It sounds funny, but this opinion of Marzutra, that you should pray for a good bathroom, is actually the best of all of them, the best interpretation. Okay, now the Gemara continues. Amarle Rava l'Rafram bar Papa. Rava told Rafram bar Papa, Leimon lon mar mehani mili mal yasa da amrit mishmei d'Rav Chizda. Tell us some great, some good words. Tell us some interesting things that you heard about from Rav Chizda in regard to the shul. So Amarle Hachi Amar Rav Chizda. This is what Rav Chizda said. My Dichsiv. What does the verse say? Ohev Hashem. God loves Sha'ari Tzion, the gates of Zion, Mikol Mishkanos Yaakov, from all of the dwellings of Jacob. Now, what does this mean? Ohev Hashem Sha'arim Hamitzuyanim Bahalacha. Tzion means Zion, but can also mean from perfection. Mitzuyanim. Okay, so Hashem loves the gates of perfection in halacha, the gates where Torah is learned halacha. Yes, mibatek and seers about midrashos, better than places where just ordinary prayer or ordinary learning. Now, learning doesn't mean ordinary, but it means the specific places, houses of study where they learn Torah to come to halacha, to come to a practical application for life. That's what Rav Chi Barami said. B'shmei Da'ula, in the name of Ula, miyom shechar Beis Hamikdash, from the day that the temple was destroyed. Ein la Hakadosh Baruch Hu ba'olamai, God does not have in His world, ela arba amos shel halacha bavad, only the 4 cubits of halacha. Okay, that's where he rests. We're on the second to last of the thinner lines before the big wide lines in the bottom. Abaya says, Meresh in the beginning, Habigrisna bego besa. I used to study in my house. Umetzlina, and I'd go to daven bebeknish in the shul. Kevin Nishmana lahadam Rav Chi Barami. This after I heard in the name from Rav Chi Barami, Mishmei De'ula, in the name of Ula, that Miyom Shachar Beis Hamikdash, the day the temple was destroyed. God does not have in this world a place, only these 4 cubic meters of where halacha is being studied. So since I learn to come to a conclusion halacha, so the place where I learn is incredibly holy, and God, the Shechin, is present there, and therefore I daven at home. The Gemara continues, Rabbi Ami v'Ravasi, even though there are 13 different synagogues in Tiberias, they didn't daven only in a specific place that they actually learned, they would get up and daven. Okay? Then the Gemara continues, 2 dots. Chi Barami said in the name of Ula, Gadol hanen miyagio. Greater is one who has reward, who enjoys miyagio kapo. They add in the word kapo, miyagio from his own toil. A man who works hard and supports himself and has a livelihood, he's greater, he's on a higher level, Yoser miyari shamayim, than a person who's sort of an aesthetic and says, I have fear of heaven, I'm just going to trust that God's going to take care of things. Dilu gabi yari shamayim, when it comes to a person who fears heaven, the verse says, Ashrei ish yirei es Hashem. Praiseworthy is the man who fears God. V'ilu gabe nana miyagio, regarding someone who actually benefits from his own work of his hands, the verse says, Yigia kapecha, he works with his hands, kisocha, that he should eat, Ashrecha v'tovlach, he's praiseworthy and it is good for you. Ashrecha ba'olam hazeh, it's good for you in this world, v'tovlach olam haba, it's even better for you in the next world. But l'gabe Yerushalayim, when it was regard to the fear of heaven person, it only said Ashrei, it only said praiseworthy, but v'tovlach, it's good for him, like Sibbe, it does not say. Okay? So the Gemara continues. Rav Chi Barami says in the name of Ula, another statement from the Rav Chi Barami in the name of Ula, in the name of Ula, a person should always live in a place where his rabbi lives. Why? Shekol Zman Shishimi ben Gera Kayam. Shimon ben Gera was the rabbi of Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon. Shlomo wanted to sort of intermarry. He wanted to marry this certain daughter of Paro, this princess of Egypt, and he never married her. Obviously, she converted before the marriage, but still, his Rebbe Shimon ben Gera didn't hold that it was an improper thing to do. So he didn't do it. After he died, he married her. Tanya says the Gemara Al Gidar. Another Braita says that you're not supposed to live where your rabbi lives. So the Gemara answers because you'll end up becoming a poshea versus an honest. You'll become a person who does sin on purpose. Because if your rabbi's there and can always see the misdeeds that you're doing, he'll say, no, you shouldn't do that. And then you go ahead and do it, and you did it on purpose versus doing it by mistake or doing it unintentionally. So it's better not to live. So the Gemara answers no. Leikasha. Where you're bent to him, literally means bent, but what it really means is if you're going to listen to him. If you're going to listen to your rabbi, then it's actually best to listen to live near your rabbi because you'll listen to him. If you're not going to listen to him, then it's best not to live near him. So Shimon ben Gera Shlomo lived near him because he in fact listened to him, as we see with the story of Bas Paro. Then the Gemara continues. Amar Rav Huna bar Yehuda, Amar Rabbi Nachman, Amar Rav Ami. Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Yehuda, said in the name of Rabbi Menachem, in the name of Rav Ami. What does the verse say? Va'ozvei Hashem yicholu. Those who abandon God will be destroyed. That's talking about when does one abandon God? Someone who leaves a Torah when it's in the middle of being read in the shul, and he leaves during the Torah reading. The Gemara says, Rabbi Avo nafik ben gavra legavra. Between aliyot, between the different portions, he would actually leave. Rav Papa asked, Ben psuka lepsuka maha. What about if you stand by the door and the pasuk finished the end of the verse, and then you jump out before the next verse starts? The answer is teku. Teku means we don't know the answer. Teku is often is brought as the Rosh Tevos, or the acronym for Tishbi. Tet is Tishbi. Yud is Yekayim. Tishbi Yetaretz will answer. Kushios v'ibaot. He will answer your questions and all your ibaos, amos, your alternatives if you don't know the answer. So we're waiting for Eliyahu Navi to come to give us the final answer. Rav Sheshis Mahadar Ape Vigaris. Rav Sheshis would turn his face and he would learn. He wouldn't actually listen to the Torah reading in shul. And Amar, he said, Anan b'didan v'inhu b'ditu. The institution of the Torah reading twice a week during the week, and Shabbos was instituted by Ezra, that the Jewish people shouldn't forget the Torah, and that they should learn every 3 days. 3 days shouldn't go by. So that way, Monday, the davening, we read, and then again Thursday, and then again at Shabbos, and then again the following Monday. So 3 days don't go by without learning Torah. So he said, I, them, anan b'didan, us with ours, and theirs with theirs. Meaning for the Amei Aratzim, the people who are unlearned, who are not going to learn Torah all day like I, they can listen to the Torah reading, and it's important that they listen. But I, anan b'didan, us with ours, meaning we learn Torah all day, so therefore I can continue studying with my studies. The Gemara continues, last line on Ches Amin Aleph. Amar Rav Huna bar Yehuda, Amar Rabbi Ami. Rav Huna, the son of Yehuda, said in the name of Rav Ami, La'olam, forever, Yashlim Adam Parshiyosav Imat Tzibur. A person should complete, we'll see, he should finish the Parsha every week, Shnai Mikra ve'echad Targum. Once by reading the Hebrew in the verses, and one with the Targum, with the translation of the Onkelos. Okay? It says the Gemara about Filu Ataros v'Divon. These words Ataros v'Divon, okay? These psukim, which are psukim in Bamidbar, which are really referring to names that don't have Targum on them, you should read them 3 times. Why? Shekol hamashlim parshiyosef imatzibur. Whoever completes the parsha with the tzibur, ma'arichelo yama v'shnosav, will live a long life. Okay, simple understanding. The commentaries explain is because the concept of Shnai Mikra is reading the Shnai Mikra, reading the Psukim every week and doing it is something you have to cut time out for of your week. So if you're a person who values time and values the Torah to that degree that you value what you're doing, you'll find time for it. So Hashem could give you more time. He can let you live longer. The Gemara continues. Rabbi Abaya Savar Lashleminu LaParshiyasa Tekula Shaita. He thought Lashleminu to complete LaParshiyasa Tekula Shaita, all the parshas of the whole year, meaning the whole Torah. B'Mali Yom Kippur. I don't know how he would complete it in one day, but he thought Erev Yom Kippur before the end of the year, I'll finish the whole Shnai Mikra Targum in that one day. And Tana Lechia Rav Midifti, Rav Chia, the son of Rav from Tifti, told him, except the verse says, Vanisam is nafshasechem b'tishal lachodesh. You can't do it on Erev Yom Kippur because you're busy. Why? Because the verse says you should pain your soul on the 9th of the month. Okay, now this is talking about Yom Kippur, the fast of Yom Kippur, the Erev in the evening. And the Gemara asks, we don't, Yom Kippur is not on the 9th of the month, it's on the 10th. We fast on the 10th. To tell you something else, there's a mitzvah, a special mitzvah to eat and drink on the 9th day. Okay, the 9th day of the month. Because whoever eats and drinks on the 9th day of the month, what happens? Ma'ala alav hakasav. I will consider it kilo misana chi ve'asiri. It's as if he actually fasted on the 9th and the 10th. So he says it's a mitzvah to eat on the 9th day. So you're busy eating. You have all these meals. You're not going to have time to finish all of the Shnai Mikra. So he thought savar laktim dinu. He thought, okay, so I'll do it a little earlier. I'll do it a few week period before the end of the year. This grandfather told him, this elderly man said, Tanita, we learned, no, you shouldn't do it early, you shouldn't do it late. The idea is to do it with the congregation, which fits the theme of what we're learning here about Tefillah B'Tzibor, now not only Tefillah B'Tzibor, but even Limud HaTorah, reading the Torah B'Tzibor. Okay? As Rabbi Yeshua Levi told his sons, Ashlimu Parshasaychu im HaTzibor Shnai Mikra Targum. Complete the Parsha every week with the Tzibor, twice with Mikra, and one with the Targum. Okay? And also, Viziru B'Vridin, you should be careful with the veins, Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Yehuda. Titzanan, we learned, Rabbi Yehuda says, until you actually shecht, you actually slaughter these certain veins. As the Rishonim, the early commentators discuss what this is exactly talking about. But the idea is that we know that you're not allowed to eat blood. It's forbidden to eat blood. So when we do the ritual slaughtering, the shechita on a bird or chicken or whatever it is that we do, we have to let it sit out in a certain way that the blood could flow down. So there's these certain veins which are thicker, which are internal, which are very, very sometimes thicker and bigger, and there's a chashash, there's a worry that the blood won't all come out. Yehuda says you should actually shecht these veins, whether it's the jugular vein, according to some of the commentaries, to make sure that the blood will flow out, okay? And he told them be careful with that. Also, Viziru, and be careful, Bezakin Sheshachat Talmuda, an elderly man who once was very learned, and Machmas Anusai, because of different accidents, he's had a rough life, and he forgot his learning. Be careful to honor him as a Talmud Chacham. Tamrina, the verse we learned that Luchos v'Shivrei Luchos Menechas B'Aaron. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu came down and brought the Luchot to bring to Klal Yisrael, and he broke them, and then Hashem gave him the new Luchos. And we know that in the Aron, there in fact lied also the broken ones. You see that there was a special significance also to broken ones, even though they were broken. So a person who was once a Talmud Chacham, who had a certain level in Torah learning, should also be respected. Okay? And Amar Lahu Rabba told his sons, when you cut meat, be careful, don't cut it on your hand. Why is that? Ikadamri, some say mishum sakana, because you'll cut the meat and you go right through your hand. Ikadamri, and some say mishum kilkal suda. They're not afraid that you're going to cut your hand so bad, but you'll have blood on your hand, and the blood will get into the meal. And then the Gemara continues. Aramis. He told the sons, Rava told the sons, don't sit on the bed of a Aramis, of a non-Jew. Okay? Okay? And don't walk behind the shul, don't go past the shul when the tzibur is davening. Okay, now the Gemara is going to explain. Don't sit on a non-Jew's bed. Amri, some say, what does that mean? Don't go to sleep with a goyish stick of bed, with a bed that doesn't have Kriyishma, that you didn't say Kriyishma. Vikadamri, some say the last of the thin lines. You shouldn't marry Gyoris, shouldn't go to bed, meaning literally, you shouldn't marry a Gyoris. And they explain that the reason he said not to marry a convert was because he was a Kohen, and it wasn't proper for a Kohen to marry a convert. Ikadamri, some say, a third alternative explanation, that Aramis Mamish, no, you shouldn't literally sit on the bed of a non-Jew. Why is that? And we show Maisa the Republic, because there was a story, an actual story on the side of Nisim Gom brings the whole story, you can look it up after. But there's an actual story with Rapapa. To Rav Papa Azal Lagabe Aramis. Rav Papa went to a non-Jew, and Rav Nissim Gaon explains the story was that it was a story that this guy owed Rav Papa money, and Rav Papa went to collect, and he said, "Yeah, sure, come on in and take a seat." So Tzilo Mita pulled out the bed for him to sit on. Amrlai, and she said to him, "Shev, sit." And Amrullah, he told her, no, I'm not sitting. Any Yoshev, I'm not sitting. Aj Tikbiyas Amita until you pick up the bed and I can see what's underneath. Hibiyas Amita, she picked up the bed or the sheets. Umutzar Sham Tinok Mace, and there was a dead child there. From the early of the blood libels, the Chachamim said, because she wanted to try to frame him to say that he killed this child, so she wouldn't have to pay him back. We said that you shouldn't go walk past the Beis HaKnesset when the Tzibur is davening. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Shua Levi, this is a proof for Rabbi Shua Levi. Rabbi Shua Levi said, Asur Leila Adam Shi'avar Acharei Beis HaKnesset. It's forbidden to walk past the shul when the congregation is davening. Okay? Amar Abaya said, the reason why this is because it'll look like, in those days they had one shul in the whole community. If you don't go to shul, it looks like you're denying the existence of God and the importance of prayer. So you shouldn't walk by when they're davening. So Abaya said, he qualified it, and this was not said, Ella deleka pischachrina, if there's no other door, meaning there's a back door where you're walking by the main door, but it could be that you're going to go through the back door, you can do that. There's no problem. And it wasn't said if there was no other shul, like as I just explained. If there's another shul, then people won't think, he doesn't go to shul, because there's no problem, because perhaps he's going to the other shul. And this was not said, if he's not carrying a load. If he's carrying a load, then he's obviously busy, so that's why he's not coming to shul. Or he's not running. If he's running, it looks like he's busy with something. Maybe he's osik b'mitzvah, he's osik in the Davar Chashiv, and he can't come to shul. Or if he's not wearing tefillin. Because if he's wearing tefillin, again, that's not along the same lines of understanding. A person who's wearing tefillin is clearly a God-fearing Jew, so the reason he's not coming to shul is for some other reason. It's not because he doesn't value tefillah at all. Okay? If he has one of these things, he's either running, carrying a load, wearing tefillin, there's another shul, there's a back door, there's no problem walking by the window during the time when the tzibur is davening. Okay? Then the Gemara continues. 2 dots. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa. Amar Rav Akiva. Rav Akiva says, "B'shloisha tavarim, for 3 things. Ohev ani es Medayim. I loved the people from Madai. Okay, Medayim. Why is that? Kishachoschem basar, which is sort of came in because of that. When they cut meat in choschen ella al gabe hashulchan, they cut meat only on the table. They don't do it on their hand, as we explained." Okay? And Kishanoshkin, when they kiss, Ein Noshkin Ela Gavayad, none of this kissing on the cheek stuff. It's not sanitary. They kiss on the hand. Okay? Ukishiyotzin, and when they give advice to one another, okay? Ein Yotzin Ela Besada, they only do it in the field. They won't do it inside a house. And the Gemara says, why is that? Amar Rav Ada bar Rava Maikra. Where do we learn this concept in the verse? Because it says, Vayishlach Yaakov sent Yikra l'Rachel, he called Rachel, v'Leah and to Leah Hasada El Tzono, to come out to the sheep to talk to him when he told them the plan of how he was going to leave their father's house. So you see that he didn't want to do it inside. So Rashi explains the reason why not to do it inside is because the walls have ears. It's naim lakosel, and listening devices for sure nowadays. But even then, it's easy for someone to put up his ear and to listen. So when giving advice, important matters, it should always be done outside. Good wisdom for life. Okay? The Gemara continues. Tanya Amar Gamliel, or Gamliel says, for 3 things I respect the Persians. Why? They're tsanua, they're modest in the way they eat properly and respectfully. They're very modest and proper about their bathrooms. And they're respectful when it comes to sexual matters as well. Okay? But then the Gemara says really quickly, I commanded to my ones who were designated. Who are these designated ones? Those are the Persians, that were sort of sanctified, but they were really designated, and they're prepared to go to hell. So don't get too excited about the Persians. Okay? Now the Gemara continues. Rabbi Gamliel says, we said in the Mishnah, Rabbi Gamliel said that you have the entire night to say the Shema. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, halacha Rabbi Gamliel, and that's the halacha, that we have the whole night to say the Shema davening. Okay? Tanya Rav Shimon ben Yochai, we learned in the Brisa. Rav Shimon ben Yochai says, Pa'amim, there are times, Sha'adam Korah Kriya Shema, Shtei Pa'amim Balayla. A person could read Shema twice at night, okay, 2 times during the night time. We'll see what this means. Achas Kodem Shi'alei Amar HaShachar, one before the morning breaks, okay, before the daybreak. The Achas La'achar Shi'alei Amar HaShachar, one after daybreak. And he could actually fulfill both of his responsibilities. He'll have done Kriya Shema Shalayla, okay, and then a Kriya Shema Shaboker. He'll do the Kriya Shema of the morning in a matter of very few minutes. One right before daybreak and one right after daybreak. So the Gemara is bothered by this. Why? Hagufa Kasha. It itself is a question. It's a question within the very statement that he made. Amrit, you said Pa'amim, there are times Sha'adam Korah Kriya Shema Shtei Pa'amim Balayla. There are times when a person will read Kriya Shema at night. Okay? Alma must be that La'achar Shi'alem and Ashachar, after daybreak, Lelyahu, it must be night. Must be he considers it still nighttime because it hasn't been Netzachama, the sun hasn't rose yet, so it's still considered nighttime. Okay, so because he said that you can read twice at night, must be that after daybreak is still called night for these purposes. Okay, V'adar Tani, and then the end of the Brisa says that Yotzi B'han Yedei Chavaso, that you could fulfill your obligation Acha Shel Yom V'Acha Shel Laila, one for the Shema at night and one for the Shema in the morning. Alma must be that after daybreak Yamamahu is day. So make up your mind: is it day or is it night? So the Gemara answers light. No, La'ilam Lel Yahu. Really, it is in fact night. The Hajjakari Layom, and this that they called it day. You know why it's called day? Because there are people waking up at that hour. Okay, it's an ungodly hour early in the morning before the sun rises, but it's after daybreak, so people wake up then. So they call it day, but really it's still considered night, and a person could fulfill his obligation for the night then as well. Okay, that's why we would call it night. Then the Gemara says, Amar Rav Acha bar Chanina, Amar Bishuv Levi. Rav Acha bar Chanina says, okay, Halacha Rav Shimon ben Yochai. Halacha is like Rav Shimon ben Yochai, like we just said. Okay, now some Ikka Damasni Lahad Rav Acha bar Chanina. Aha. Some say that this statement that Rav Acha bar Chanina said in the name of Yeshuv Levi, that the halacha is like Rav Shimon Gamliel, wasn't given in the Brisa that we just quoted. Only on this Brisa. And what is the Brisa? The Brisa is a bit different. Tanya, we learned in a Brisa. Rav Shimon ben Yochai, Omer Rav Shimon ben Yochai, said Mishum Rabbi Akiva. Pa'amim, there are times, Sha'adam Korah Kriya Shema, Shtei Pa'amim B'yom. Okay? Not 2 times at night, but 2 times during the day. Achas Kodem Netzachama, 1 time right before Netzachama, sunrise. V'achas, and 1 la'achar Netzachama, after sunrise. And again, v'yotz b'hem yedei chavasai, he'll also again fulfill his obligation, 1 for the day, for the morning Kriya Shema, 1 that was after sunrise, v'achar shalayla. So that's obviously different than what we just said. So the Gemara asks, Hagufa Kasha. That itself is a question. Same question. Amr, you said, Pa'amim, there are times, Sha'adam Korah Kriya Shema, Shtei Pa'amim B'yom, that a person could read Kriya Shema twice a day. Alma must be that Kodem Netzachama, before sunrise, is Yamama, who is called day. V'hadar Tani, then it goes back and says, Yotze B'hen Yedei Chavas, and Acha Shel Yom, V'Acha Shel Laila, 1 for the day and 1 for the night. Alma Lelyo. We see that it must be the night. So make up your mind. Is this time before Netzachama, the time after sunrise, after the day break, but before sunrise, is that time night or day? So the Gemara answers, La'ilam Yamamahu. It's really day. The only reason he said that a person could read it during the day and be Yotzi, his responsibility for the night, is the Ikka Inchi, there are people that are still sleeping at that time. And Amar Rav Acha bar Chanina, Amar Rishum Levi, Rav Acha said the name of Rishum Levi, Halacha Rav Shimon, Shamar Rishum Rabbi Akiva. The halacha is like Rav Shimon in the name of Rabbi Akiva. Okay, so we'll take it from here tomorrow, and we'll go on to discuss the halacha.